Good morning, YouTube. It is 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas, and it's about 83 degrees and very blurry, and about 6:30 in the morning when I start this video. So, decided to do, one of our typical bowls that we like doing on the channel here. So, getting our epoxy mixed up, and I'm trying to think of a color that I haven't done ever, or haven't done in a very long time. So, what comes to mind is doing something in gold. So black diamond pigment, I ordered like a bunch of these. I've got like 14, 15 colors, and obviously by just looking at the package, I've never used this. So this cool gold color, and I'm thinking this is going to turn out pretty awesome. So I'm thinking let's do one of our traditional pots and let's, make something cool, and let's do it in gold. So doing what we usually do, just mixing up our resin, our 1-to-1 resin. By the way, if you ever are interested in using East Coast resin, it's 1-to-1, and that's pretty much why I like using it, because I don't have to do math, because I'm horrible with numbers, and would recommend this product, especially if you're doing epoxy projects and you're adding pigment or dye. I think it's really good. It's not so clear if you're doing like really deep pours, but if you're just doing tabletop stuff, it's pretty good. But anyway, back to the video. So we're just mixing up our gold pigment here, just throwing a copious amount of it into our little mix of resin, and just going to give that a good stir, obviously, and get everything mixed up nice and evenly. So I literally set this up about, I'd say about a month ago, and just recently got around to actually making the project. So doing our just shallower pot here, and then here I am trying to make YouTube shorts with my phone there. So speaking of shorts, hope everybody's liking those. I'm doing a lot more of those. I'm getting a lot better engagement with a lot of our projects, which is a good thing. But we're still doing stuff that I like to make. So yes, I probably have made this design of pot about 1,000,000 times, but I really like making these small little projects, and I think they look really good. So I'm going to keep making stuff that I want to make. So if you don't like it, sorry. Gonna keep doing it. But this is what the epoxy looks like, set up 4.5 hours in the pressure pot, and literally sitting around on my shelf for about 3 weeks. And obviously here we got a lot of work to do as far as making everything nice and even. And just to say, it said gold, but when I pulled this out, it looks orange. So it still kind of goes with the season. We're going into October this week, so spooky season is here. So it's gonna be maybe like Halloween themed projects for the rest of the month, but it looks more orange, and I will give that an adjustment, because it doesn't look like gold based on what it looks like right here, but I still think it looks pretty cool. So get this all set up, and then we're just working down the material here, and admittingly I need to change the carbide tool. It is absolutely wrecked, but I am a creature of habit, and I am very afraid that if I change it, I'll get a different feel on the chisel, and it will shatter all my projects. So I need to change that, and I definitely felt that on this one. Even though we had pretty good ribbons coming off of it, not a whole lot of issues. It's so chipped, it's not sharp, and I definitely feel that when I'm turning down these pieces of epoxy. But the good news is it's about 87 degrees or 80-ish degrees into the workshop, so it makes the epoxy work a little bit better. But we ended up getting everything nice and even. Obviously, not a whole lot of wobble there, making the mortise, and then just sizing up the chuck there. So getting everything off here, just taking the screws out like we usually do with every single project that we've done. And instead of working it down onto the lathe, I just decided to go ahead and take a chisel and just pop this right off. Boom, there it is. Nice little piece going into the trash. So once we get to this point, now we're just taking off that top layer, and then we'll make everything nice and even, and then we'll start the actual gouging portion here. But again, I need to change the head on this carbide tool. It's been too long. I've pretty much have had it for like over a year, and I don't typically sharpen them, and I need to, and I know that's bad on me as a woodworker knowing better. But everything's nice and even. You can see there, it's just nice and cylindrical, which is the shape we're looking for. So starting the gouging portion here, great thing about these smaller, shallower little projects is they go relatively quick, so not a whole lot of issues here. I don't know why the camera's skipping there a little bit. Obviously some technical issues, but the great thing is we didn't have a lot of chatter on the chisels, even though they're not very sharp, and I do need to change that carbide head. Getting everything to a nice depth that I wanted went went really easy. So getting here, just working off the sides, starting and stopping the camera a couple of times, just trying to gauge the depth of where we're at. But overall, pretty happy how this is going. And the great thing is you can tell by just looking at it, there's no wobble. So that definitely helps a lot when you're working with this material. And here I am starting and stopping it. And somebody pointed it out at work that watches my videos. I know I need to change my gloves. I am just really cheap and don't like throwing stuff away, even though those gloves are doing nothing for my fingers, because here I am gouging with no gloves on right now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I definitely need a new pair of gloves. Maybe for Christmas I'll buy myself some, but get that all done, and now we're working on the lid portion here. So this one is obviously larger than the actual pot itself, so we have a lot of material to work off. So here I am, initially a lot of wobble, but we're just making everything nice and even into a nice dome shape. And then we just, once we get everything kind of just set up the way we want, come back in and just start making a mortise for it. And going as shallow as humanly possible there, and then we just flip it over. And now the hard part of just turning down and getting everything nice and even to the shape of the actual pot that we have working here. And here I am trying to gauge that with the actual pot that's already finished, and realizing we have a lot of material left to get down. So I end up switching from my round carbide tool to my square, just trying to get it done a little bit faster, and really just taking small, shallow little strokes, trying to make it as easy as possible, but also trying not to have a catastrophic chip out situation, because that was my biggest fear while I was doing this, was getting like real bad chip out. Because if you chip off too much material, obviously there's not going to be anything left for the lid. But pretty happy how this is turning out so far. And then I tried start and stopping the lathe multiple times, just trying to size everything up so that the lid will fit a little bit. And again, before we even sand it, you can just tell how orange this is. I know in the title I'm probably saying gold epoxy bowl, but yes, I will completely concede that it is more orange than it is gold. But what are you going to do? But we eventually get it sized down appropriately, and now we're just working down all that leftover material, and then just starting and stopping the lathe to get the lid finished. But these are all of the shavings left from that project, and in spite of it just being a very small little project, there is a lot of material left, and we got to get this all cleaned up, and then we start my favorite part, which is sanding. So we went from 320 to 400, 600, 800. So I think that's a pretty good gauge of where you need to be. I used to go up to 1,000, 1,200, and 1,500, but I'm just doing better with just the simple 320, 400, 600, and then 800. So once we did all that, then we come back and hit it with the polishing pads here, and you can kind of see a little bit more gold in it, but admittingly it's just simply more orange than anything else. But I'm still happy. Then we just hit it with that wood wax at the end, and I think it looks really good. So in spite of it not being a true gold color, it still comes out pretty cool. So I'm relatively happy with it, and we're almost done here, and then we're just polishing it up. We'll do the lid, and then you can just see the gold color kind of come out of it with the swirls. Makes it look really cool, but in the end it's admittingly more orange than it is gold. But I think next week's project will probably be a little bit more bright. But here it is at the end. It still looks really cool, and I'm really happy with this one. Not a whole lot of issues. It came out looking really good, so pretty happy with how it turned out. But hope you guys are liking the material. Hope you guys are liking all the shorts that I'm putting out as well. I'm still doing projects on Sundays and Thursdays, so I will let you guys go, and I will see you guys next week, and I will see you Thursday. Be looking out for all those shorts as well, and I hope everybody's having a really good week. So I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace. All right, so project is done, and this little guy looks really, really cool. Now, I'm sure I went over in the commentary, it really doesn't look like gold per se, but it's definitely a bright orange, which looks pretty cool. And going into October next week, I think it's pretty fitting for the time of season. So more of a fall aesthetic than anything else, but I think it looks really, really cool in my opinion. You can see all the swirls in there too. You can see what the top looks like. Bottom looks pretty cool. It's pretty much see-through, kind of, sort of, but not really. And really didn't have all that of an issue with it. Looks pretty cool, but top goes on nice and secure, so pretty happy how this little guy turned out. So it's about 6 o'clock on Saturday. You guys are literally watching this tomorrow. I'm going to edit this video while I watch Texas Tech play Cincinnati, and hopefully we don't lose. But it's getting a lot cooler here in Texas. It's right now only 84 degrees in my workshop, so that's pleasant for me. So really cool little project. Really happy how this one turned out. So hope you guys liked it. Hope you're checking out my shorts as well. Seen a lot just more creative process than having to watch like the whole video, but it's out there if you guys want to see it. But anyway, cool little pot again. I've done very similar, but I always say make the stuff you want to make. I like making these little pots, so hope you guys like it too. But if you don't, that's okay too. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.